So this past summer, I started watching Girlfriends on Netflix, and I noticed that there's this influx of black sitcoms being added to Netflix and even other streaming platforms like Hulu, like Moesha and 1-on-1 and Half and Half and Sister Sister, The Parkers. And it made me think about, one, why all of these shows were coming on to Netflix, at around the same time. And it also made me think about how all of these are from the 90s and the 2000s, but how come we don't have any of these sitcoms today? Like, how come there's nothing like what there was? Jay-Z made a music video for a song Moonlight, where he basically did a spoof of Friends with black people, like Lakeith Stanfield and Tiffany Haddish and Gerard Carmichael, and they basically sort of reenacted Friends. And if you didn't know already, Friends isn't funny. It's a show about white people doing nothing. And the point of that video was that, Gerard Carmichael, he sort of gets lost in this scene as they're acting and wanders off outside of the studio, finds his way outside, sits on a bench and stares at the moon. And there's audio from the 2016 or 2017 Oscars announcing La La Land as Best Picture.
And the Academy Award for Best Picture.
La La Land.
No, explain. Bruh, remember at the Oscars when La La Land won Best Picture, but it wasn't. It was really Moonlight. And it made me think of, white mediocrity and then sitcoms. The past few years, the only black sitcom that I can think of is Blackish. But it makes me wish that there were more. Because whenever black people are in something, we're usually the token ones. We're usually the only one or one of two. So to have a show that's like fully ours and like a FUBU for us by us sort of situation that hasn't been around in years. And what I've learned over the past few months is that shows like Girlfriends, and I don't know how Brandy ended, but they didn't really have an ending. They were just sort of canceled. They didn't really get the proper ending that they deserved after, seasons and seasons of seasons. And having huge audiences, they were just sort of cast away because there was other white content to be made, is how I see it.
Nothing. It was literally, we actually didn't even know, really.
Yeah,
we just sort of, and then it just kind
got a
of went
phone
into
call.
the abyss.
Like, it's over.
And we just went
Cleaning
away.
house, they called it. Like,
And it was a
just
different
sweeped out.
tone then as well, different network.
Yeah, it was just a different world.
Yeah.
And our show, I don't think, was as important to them as it was to our community.
And then, that also brings up the point, like, why does it have to be labeled as black? For, we to find it, one, and then just for it to be, think about, like, black movies. I like Tyler Perry's, like, makes, like, black movies. Like, all of these things that we see as, like, black movies. When, like, the world and, like, society will never just see them as movies. I guess the thing that makes me miss these stories and black sitcoms, like, or black shows in general, like, when I knew that I wanted to be a filmmaker, Insecure came out and Atlanta came out, and I was like, oh my god, Issa Rae, Donald Glover, they're just like making stories that are authentic to them, are really refreshing, and then they get a lot of recognition for what they're doing. Same with Moonlight that came out at the same time. It just hits different. There's just a certain sort of flavor about it that I really love. It's like we weren't really given that sort of screen time.
She has just sort of bookmarked, and I cry because it's important. And we're raising these little girls, and now my turn.
Kleenex, please.
Sorry. It's important for them to see themselves. And so I thank Tracy's mother for that, because sometimes when you're growing up, you're visual. And you feel things, but you see, and that's what creates that feeling. And so seeing her mother, it just really inspired me. So I wouldn't say nervous, but I was highly anxious to see someone that I felt like emulated an aesthetic that I desperately needed during my upbringing.